I chose my wife over my toxic family. A year later, my mom showed up crying and begging to meet her granddaughter. I never thought I'd be sharing a story like this, but here I am. My name is Aaron, 28M, and I've always been proud of my close-knit family. We weren't perfect, but I believed we had a special bond that could weather any storm. That was until my wife, Sophia, 27F, opened my eyes to a harsh reality I'd been blind to for far too long. Growing up in a small town in Oregon, my family was known for our free-spirited approach to life. My parents, Glenn, 55M, and Maria, 53F, were high school sweethearts who married young and had 3 kids in quick succession. They raised us with a hands-off approach, letting us make our own mistakes and learn from them. We were encouraged to express ourselves and form our own opinions, no matter how unconventional. This parenting style led to a strong bond between me, my older sister Sam, 30F, and my younger brother Clarence, 25M. We were each other's best friends, confidants, and partners in crime. I remember countless summer nights spent in our treehouse, planning adventures and dreaming about our futures. Even as we grew older and our interests diverged, that core connection remained. Sam was always the rebel of the family. She dyed her hair bright colors, got tattoos as soon as she turned 18, and was vocal about her political beliefs. Clarence, on the other hand, was the peacemaker. He had a knack for diffusing tense situations with his quick wit and easygoing nature. And me? I was somewhere in the middle, the bridge between my siblings' contrasting personalities. We remained close even after we all moved out and started our own lives. Sam became a successful graphic designer in Portland, Clarence pursued his passion for environmental science in Seattle, and I stayed closer to home, working as a high school teacher in our hometown. Despite the distance, we made it a point to gather at our parents' house every Sunday for dinner. These weekly dinners were a tradition that started when Sam left for college. Mom worried about us drifting apart, so she instituted mandatory family dinners whenever we were all in town. What started as an obligation soon became the highlight of our week. The dinners were filled with laughter, heated debates, and the occasional arm wrestling match, a family tradition to settle minor disputes. I always looked forward to these gatherings, seeing them as a testament to our family's strength and unity. It was at one of these dinners that I first introduced Sophia to my family, 3 years ago. Sophia and I met at a local coffee shop where she worked part-time while finishing her nursing degree. I was immediately drawn to her warm smile and quick wit. We bonded over our shared love of 80s movies and terrible puns. After a whirlwind romance, I knew she was the one I wanted to spend my life with. When I first brought Sophia to a family dinner, everything seemed perfect. My family welcomed her with open arms, and she appeared to fit right in. Sam and Sophia hit it off immediately, bonding over their shared love of art. Clarence regaled her with stories of his latest research projects, and my parents treated her like a daughter they'd always known. We got married a year later in a small ceremony in my parents' backyard. It was a perfect day, filled with love and laughter. I felt like the luckiest man alive, having the woman I loved and a family that adored her. Or so I thought. About 6 months into our marriage, I started noticing changes in Sophia's behavior. She became less enthusiastic about our family gatherings. At first, I brushed it off as her being tired from her new job at the local hospital. But as time went on, her reluctance to spend time with my family became more apparent. I remember one Sunday when Sophia claimed she had a migraine and couldn't attend dinner. I offered to stay home with her, but she insisted I go. When I returned, I found her curled up on the couch, her eyes red from crying. When I asked what was wrong, she brushed it off, saying she was just feeling emotional due to the pain. These incidents became more frequent. Sophia would make excuses not to attend family events, or when she did come, she'd be quiet and withdrawn. It was a stark contrast to the vibrant, outgoing woman I fell in love with. One night, after returning from a particularly heated dinner at my parents' house where the topic of discussion had been the upcoming local elections, Sophia broke down. She told me that my family had been making her feel uncomfortable and unwelcome. She said they would gang up on her during discussions, dismiss her opinions, and make subtle jabs at her background and beliefs. I was shocked. I had never noticed any of this behavior. In my eyes, our discussions were just passionate debates, not personal attacks. I assured Sophia that she must be misinterpreting things and that my family would never intentionally make her feel bad. This led to our first major argument as a married couple. Sophia accused me of dismissing her feelings and siding with my family over her. She brought up specific incidents, like the time Sam had made a sarcastic comment about Sophia's small-town views, or when my mother had criticized her career choice, suggesting that nursing wasn't ambitious enough. I felt caught in the middle, unable to believe that the family I loved so much could be causing my wife such distress. I tried to rationalize their behavior, explaining that Sam's sarcasm was just her way of joking, and that my mother probably meant well with her career advice. As months passed, the situation only worsened. Sophia's attendance at family gatherings became sporadic, and when she did come, the tension was palpable. I started noticing small things, a cutting remark from Sam here, a dismissive wave from my mother there. But I still couldn't bring myself to believe it was as bad as Sophia claimed. I remember one particularly uncomfortable dinner where the topic of discussion was immigration policies. Sophia, whose parents had immigrated from Mexico, tried to share her perspective. But before she could finish speaking, my mother interrupted her, saying, "Oh honey, you're too young to understand the complexities of these issues." The dismissive tone in my mother's voice was unmistakable, and I saw Sophia visibly deflate. Things came to a head last Thanksgiving. We were all gathered at my parents' house, and the conversation turned to the recent presidential election. Sophia, who has always been passionate about social issues, voiced her opinion on a controversial policy. What followed was a barrage of arguments from my family, each one becoming more personal and hurtful. Sam accused Sophia of being naive and uninformed. Clarence, usually the peacemaker, remained silent, avoiding eye contact with everyone. My father tried to change the subject, but my mother doubled down, making a comment about how Sophia's background was clouding her judgment. I watched as my wife, the strong and confident woman I fell in love with, seemed to shrink before my eyes. She excused herself from the table, and I found her crying in the guest room. It was then that the full weight of what had been happening hit me. I confronted my family, demanding to know why they had been treating Sophia this way. Their responses ranged from denial to justification. Sam claimed she was just engaging in healthy debate. Clarence mumbled an apology but said he didn't want to get involved. My father looked uncomfortable but remained silent. It was my mother's response that shocked me the most. She said that Sophia was too sensitive and needed to toughen up if she wanted to be part of our family. She went on to say that she was just trying to help Sophia improve herself and fit in better with our family dynamic. I left that night with Sophia, feeling like my world had been turned upside down. The family I had idolized for so long suddenly seemed cruel and exclusionary. I realized that in my blind devotion to them, I had failed to protect and support the woman I vowed to love and cherish. Now, I find myself at a crossroads. Sophia and I are expecting our first child, a surprise we discovered just a week after the Thanksgiving disaster. She's made it clear that she doesn't want our baby exposed to the toxic environment my family has created. Part of me understands and agrees, but another part mourns the loss of the family I thought I had. I've cut off contact with most of my family members, except for my dad, who seems to be the only one who understands the gravity of the situation. He's been calling regularly, apologizing for not speaking up and offering to mediate. But I'm not sure if that's enough to repair the damage that's been done. I love Sophia, and I want to build a healthy, happy life with her and our child. But I can't help feeling a sense of loss for the family relationships I once cherished. The treehouse where we shared our dreams, the Sunday dinners filled with laughter, the inside jokes that only we understood, all of it seems tainted now. How do I move forward from here? How do I balance being a good husband and father with the lingering attachment I feel towards my family? The thought of my child growing up without knowing their aunts, uncle, and grandparents breaks my heart. But the thought of subjecting Sophia and our baby to the same treatment she's endured is unbearable. I find myself lying awake at night, replaying memories from my childhood, trying to pinpoint when things started to go wrong. Was our family always like this, and I was too blinded by love to see it? Or did something change along the way? As Sophia's pregnancy progresses, these questions become more urgent. We need to make decisions about how to move forward, how to create a healthy environment for our child. But every choice feels like it comes with a heavy price. I know I need to be strong for Sophia and our baby, but some days, the weight of this situation feels overwhelming. I miss my family, but I'm also angry at them. I love Sophia and want to protect her, but I feel guilty for not seeing the truth sooner. Any advice on how to navigate this complex situation would be appreciated. How do I protect my wife and future child while also dealing with the loss of the family I thought I had? How do we move forward and create a positive future when the past feels so complicated? Update 1. It's been 3 months since my original post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone who took the time to respond and offer advice. Your words helped me gain perspective and gave me the strength to take some difficult but necessary steps. After much soul-searching and long conversations with Sophia, I decided to confront my family one last time. I arranged a meeting at a neutral location, the local park where we used to have family picnics when we were kids. I chose this spot hoping it would remind everyone of happier times and the bond we once shared. Sophia chose not to attend, which I completely understood and supported. The days leading up to the meeting were filled with anxiety. I found myself reminiscing about the good times, building sandcastles with Sam at this very park, teaching Clarence how to ride a bike on these paths, Mom and Dad cheering us on from the sidelines. It made what I had to do even harder. When the day arrived, I got to the park early and sat on our favorite bench, the one with our initials carved into it from years ago. As I waited, I felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, we could find a way to fix this. My family arrived together, Mom and Dad in the front, Sam and Clarence trailing behind. The atmosphere was tense from the start. We exchanged awkward greetings and sat down at a nearby picnic table. I took a deep breath and began. I laid out every instance of mistreatment that Sophia had experienced, backed up by specific examples and dates. I talked about the sarcastic comments, the dismissive attitudes, the way they ganged up on her during discussions. I explained how their behavior had not only hurt my wife but it also put a strain on our marriage and was now threatening the relationship I would have with my unborn child. As I spoke, I watched their faces carefully. My dad, Glenn, looked pained and remorseful. He kept shaking his head, as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Sam's expression was a mix of defiance and shock, while Clarence looked like he wanted to disappear into thin air. Their reactions were mixed. My dad was the first to speak. He admitted that he had noticed some of the behavior but had failed to speak up, something he deeply regretted. He talked about how he was raised to avoid confrontation and how that had led him to stay silent even when he knew things were wrong. The pain in his voice was evident, and for a moment, I saw the father I remembered from my childhood, kind, caring, and always trying to do the right thing. Sam was defensive at first. She argued that her comments were never meant to be hurtful, that it was just her way of joking around. But as the conversation progressed and I gave more specific examples, I saw the realization dawn on her face. She began to understand the impact of her words and actions. There was a moment when she tried to make excuses, bringing up times when Sophia had disagreed with her, but I stood firm. I explained that disagreement was fine, but the way they had treated Sophia went far beyond simple disagreement. Clarence's reaction surprised me the most. My usually quiet brother broke down and confessed that he had always felt uncomfortable with how the family treated Sophia but was too afraid to go against the grain. He talked about feeling caught between loyalty to the family and knowing that what was happening was wrong. It was a side of Clarence I had never seen before, and it made me realize how much this situation had affected him too. The most shocking and disappointing reaction came from my mother, Maria. She remained steadfast in her belief that Sophia was the problem, not the family. She accused me of betraying the family and claimed that Sophia had brainwashed me against them. She brought up incidents from our childhood, times when she said she had sacrificed for us, as if that justified her behavior toward Sophia. Her words were hurtful, but they also provided clarity. I realized that my mother's behavior was the root of much of the toxicity in our family dynamic. It was a painful realization, seeing the woman who had raised me, who I had always seen as loving and supportive, in this new light. The conversation lasted for hours. There were tears, raised voices, moments of understanding, and moments of frustration. By the end, we had come to a resolution of sorts. My dad, Sam, and Clarence agreed to attend family counseling to work on their behavior and communication skills. They also promised to make individual apologies to Sophia, but only when she felt ready to hear them. My mother, however, refused to acknowledge any wrongdoing. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, she stood up abruptly. She said that if I chose Sophia over the family, I would no longer be welcome in her life. Then she walked away, leaving us all in stunned silence. It was a painful moment, watching her retreating figure, knowing that this might be the last time I saw her for a while. But it also felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe freely. In the weeks that followed, I've had several one-on-one conversations with my dad, Sam, and Clarence. They've been making efforts to understand where they went wrong and how they can do better. Sam even sent Sophia a heartfelt letter apologizing for her behavior and expressing a desire to make amends. Clarence has been calling regularly, asking about the pregnancy and offering support. Sophia has been cautiously optimistic about these developments. While she's not ready to jump back into family gatherings, she's open to the idea of slowly rebuilding relationships, starting with individual meetings once the baby is born. As for my mother, I haven't heard from her since that day in the park. My dad tells me she's still angry and hurt, but he's hopeful that with time and the arrival of her grandchild, she might come around. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm leaving the door open for the possibility of reconciliation if she's willing to acknowledge her behavior and make genuine changes. For now, Sophia and I are focusing on preparing for the arrival of our baby. We've been attending birthing classes and setting up the nursery. Last weekend, we painted the room a soft yellow, and as we worked side by side, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't experienced in a long time. It's been amazing to see Sophia relaxed and happy, free from the stress that my family used to cause her. Her smile has returned, and she's back to cracking terrible puns that never fail to make me laugh. We've been talking more openly about our feelings and our hopes for the future. It feels like we're rediscovering each other, and falling in love all over again. I know we still have a long road ahead of us. There are still moments when I feel a pang of sadness thinking about the family gatherings we're missing, the inside jokes I can no longer share. But then I look at Sophia, see her hand resting on her growing belly, and I know I've made the right choice. I'm learning to be the husband and soon-to-be father that Sophia and our child deserve, even if it means redefining what family means to me. It's not always easy, but every day I'm more certain that it's worth it. To those who might be facing similar situations, I want to say that it's okay to prioritize your own family, the one you've chosen in our building, over the one you were born into. It's not betrayal, it's growth. And while it might be painful, it can also be incredibly freeing. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and our lives have changed dramatically. Our daughter, Lily, was born 2 months ago, and she's absolutely perfect. The moment I held her in my arms for the first time, I knew that all the difficult decisions and painful conversations had been worth it. Becoming a father has given me a new perspective on life and family, reinforcing my commitment to creating a healthy environment for Lily to grow up in. The arrival of Lily has brought about some unexpected developments in our family situation. My dad, Sam, and Clarence have been making consistent efforts to mend their relationships with Sophia. They've been attending family counseling sessions regularly and have shown genuine remorse for their past behavior. About a month before Lily was born, Sophia felt ready to meet with them individually. These meetings were emotional but productive. My dad was the first to visit. He brought a handmade wooden rocking chair, a family heirloom that he had refurbished himself. As he presented it to Sophia, his eyes welled up with tears. He apologized profusely for his silence in the face of the mistreatment she had endured. Sophia, though initially guarded, was moved by his sincerity. Sam's visit was next. She arrived with a sketchbook full of designs for Lily's nursery, a peace offering of sorts. The conversation was awkward at first, but as Sam opened up about her own insecurities and how they had influenced her behavior, Sophia began to soften. By the end of the visit, they were tentatively planning a day out together after the baby was born. Clarence's meeting was perhaps the most surprising. My usually reserved brother arrived with a stack of parenting books and a heartfelt letter. He confessed that he had always admired Sophia's strength and conviction, and that his silence had come from a place of cowardice, not agreement with the family's behavior. Sophia appreciated his honesty, and they ended up talking for hours about their hopes for Lily's future. When Lily was born, we decided to allow them to visit us in the hospital. It was a tense moment at first, but seeing their joy at meeting Lily helped ease some of the lingering awkwardness. Sophia was understandably guarded, but she appreciated their respectful behavior and the effort they were making. Since then, we've been slowly integrating them back into our lives. We've had a few dinners at our house, where the focus has been on getting to know each other again and bonding with Lily. These gatherings have been peaceful and pleasant, a stark contrast to the hostile environment of the past. The most surprising turn of events, however, involves my mother, Maria. About a month after Lily was born, she reached out to me. She asked to meet, alone, at a local coffee shop. I was apprehensive but agreed, hoping for some resolution. When we met, I hardly recognized the woman sitting across from me. Gone was the defensive, domineering mother I had known. Instead, I found a tearful, remorseful woman who had spent months reflecting on her behavior. She confessed that after our confrontation in the park, she had spiraled into a depression. It forced her to take a hard look at herself and her actions. She had started seeing a therapist, who helped her understand the toxic patterns in her behavior and the damage she had caused to her relationships. Maria apologized profusely for her treatment of Sophia and for the way she had manipulated family dynamics for years. She expressed a deep desire to make amends and to be a part of Lily's life, but she also said she would understand if we weren't ready for that. I was stunned by this change in my mother. While I was touched by her apology, I made it clear that rebuilding our relationship would be a slow process, and that Sophia's feelings would be the priority. Maria agreed, saying she was willing to do whatever it took to earn back our trust. I shared this development with Sophia, and while she was skeptical at first, she agreed to a carefully controlled meeting. We invited Maria to our house, with my dad present as a buffer. The meeting was awkward and emotional, but it ended with Maria making a heartfelt apology to Sophia and getting to meet her granddaughter for the first time. We're taking things day by day. Maria is not fully integrated back into our lives, but she's making efforts. She's joined the others in family counseling and has been respectful of our boundaries. It's a work in progress, but I'm cautiously optimistic. As for Sophia and me, our relationship has grown stronger through all of this. We're learning to communicate better, to stand up for each other, and to put our little family first. Watching Sophia with Lily fills me with joy and reaffirms that I made the right choice in prioritizing their well-being. The road ahead is still long, and I know there will be bumps along the way. But for the first time in a long while, I feel hopeful about the future of our expanded family. Update 3, it's been a year since my last update, and I'm happy to report that things have continued to improve. Lily just celebrated her first birthday, and the party was a testament to how far we've come as a family. Over the past year, we've been slowly rebuilding relationships and establishing new, healthier dynamics. My dad, Sam, and Clarence have become regular fixtures in our lives. They've proven their commitment to change through consistent actions and respect for our boundaries. Sophia has grown more comfortable around them, and it's heartwarming to see them doting on Lily. My mother, Maria, has made reasonable progress. She's continued with her therapy and has become an active participant in our family counseling sessions. Her relationship with Sophia has improved significantly. While they may never be best friends, there's a mutual respect and understanding between them now. One of the most significant changes has been in our family gatherings. We've started a new tradition of monthly family dinners at our house. These dinners are a far cry from the tense, argumentative affairs of the past. There's laughter, genuine conversations, and a palpable sense of love and support. We've established clear guidelines for these gatherings. Everyone knows that respectful communication is non-negotiable, and we've all learned to be more mindful of each other's feelings and perspectives. If discussions become heated, we have strategies in place to de-escalate and return to neutral ground. Sophia has blossomed in this new environment. She's more confident in expressing her opinions, and it's beautiful to see her forming individual bonds with my family members. She and Sam have even started a book club together, something I never would have imagined possible a year ago. As for me, I've learned valuable lessons about standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult. I've become a better husband and father, always putting Sophia and Lily's well-being first. My relationship with my family has evolved into something more mature and balanced. Lily is the center of everyone's world. It's amazing to see how her presence has motivated everyone to be their best selves. She's growing up surrounded by love and positive examples of conflict resolution and personal growth. Of course, it hasn't all been smooth sailing. We've had setbacks and moments of tension. There have been times when old habits threaten to resurface. But we've faced these challenges head-on, always returning to our commitment to do better. Looking back on where we were 2 years ago, the transformation seems almost unbelievable. We've gone from a family fractured by toxicity and misunderstanding to one that's stronger, more compassionate, and truly supportive. I'm under no illusion that our work is done. Maintaining healthy relationships requires ongoing effort and vigilance. But I'm no longer daunted by this task. Instead, I'm excited about the future we're building together. As we move forward, Sophia and I are excited about expanding our family. We're trying for a second child, knowing that this time, we'll be bringing a baby into a family that's ready to offer nothing but love and support. Thank you to everyone who has followed our journey and offered support along the way. Your encouragement has meant more than you know.